everybody! So, I'm Lars, and this video is gonna be all about headless guitars, or at least what I know about headless guitars, because I don't know shit, alright? I'm a guitar player. I don't know anything, except about guitars, and that's what this video is about. So, this is a headless guitar, or it's a headstockless guitar, but I call them headless guitars, because, as you can see, there's no headstock. Look. What the hell? No headstock. Yeah. And so, basically, I would like to talk about headless guitars, you know, why I play one, you know, maybe give some story as to how I got one, how I started playing one, why I kind of made it like my signature guitar, because that's kind of what it became. And so, and then I'll talk about the advantages and disadvantages of having a headless guitar. So, a headless guitar doesn't have a head, doesn't have a headstock, so that means that the tuning pegs are down here, and that's how you tune. You know, yeah. And a lot of people are freaked out by these for some reason. Like, every time I go to the bar to play with, you know, my band, you know, if you want to check out our covers, every time I go to the bar, somebody has to make a comment about the fact that I play a guitar without a headstock. Everybody has to say, like, oh, your guitar doesn't have a headstock? Oh, you know, the bass player in my band, Jimmy, he makes fun of this guitar all the time. One time he introduced me as on the half guitar, Lars. One time he said that it looks like it got attacked by a weed whacker. He said that it looks like a stick used for killing ants. And one time another guy, he got off stage and he was helping me set up, and he says, oh, your headstock broke off. And then one time, that same night actually, as the headstock broke off guy, some dude came outside where I was tuning, and he points at me, he goes, what is that? And before I got a chance to answer, he goes, oh, I know it's a guitar, but I've never seen one like that. Like, what's... And okay, so I got it from a pawn shop. I think some people know that if you've watched my, you know, the video where I show all of my guitars. I got this from a pawn shop. And I'll elaborate on that in a little bit. But what happened was somebody brought it in to sell it to this pawn shop, and the owner thought it was broken at first. It's like, people freak out over headless guitars when they see me in the bar, like, what is that? A guitar without a headstock? I'm like, yeah, it's not that complicated. It's like, it's still a guitar. It's not any different from your guitar, except that you tune it down here. But people are still like, but, whoa! It's like, come on now, it's not rocket science. So, as I said, I got it from a pawn shop, and basically what happened was I saw this pawn shop when I was out getting something done with my glasses, I don't know, and I thought, okay, I want to go in there, see if they have guitars, because I know that some pawn shops have guitars, and my dad said, oh, you know, even if they have guitars, they're not going to have left-handed guitars. I'm like, yeah, well, you know, who knows, maybe they'll have, like, one, but they had 4. They had 4 left-handed guitars, at least I'm pretty sure it was 4. There were 3 hanging up, and this one, was in the glass case, and so, you know, like, I had to get it, like, come on, who plays a headless guitar anymore? Yeah, so that's the thing. That's why I've kind of made it my signature guitar, because, 1, it's got a great sound. I mean, you heard that shit? Like, listen to this. I'm gonna get out a drop D tuning. Metallica, I know, I'm aware. They're my second favorite band. Alright, but you hear the sound of this? That's why I made it my signature guitar, along with the fact that everybody freaks out when they sees it. Because, like, who's got a guitar like this? You need a signature guitar, and maybe I'll make another video about signature guitars, but I like signature guitars. I have Steve Vai's signature guitar. I have Paul McCartney's signature bass. I have a Dean, which isn't exactly Dimebag's signature guitar, but like it's what he was known for. I guess it was his signature guitar. He had his own guitars, but like, you know, he had multiple Deans. But that's the one that Steve Vai plays the most. Yeah, you get the idea. So this is what I made my signature guitar, because everybody's gonna know, hey, there's that guy with the fucking weird guitar. And also, it doesn't help that I'm left-handed as well, so it's like, everybody's gonna see now. Like, I get enough shit for being a left-handed guitar player, and now I play a guitar without a headstock. Like, what the fuck? I'm like a target. Anyway. The original point of this video was advantages and disadvantages of headless guitars. So, I don't know everything about these guitars. I just know about mine. So if you have one, this probably isn't your experience. You probably don't have one. They're not very common. You'd see them in the 80s sometimes, but I think it was more common to see a headless bass than a headless guitar. Which is actually where I'm going to start with the first advantage, is that they're not very common, so you can make them a signature guitar, which is what I did. And so, you know, you're definitely going to stand out if you have one of these. Also, if you're a left-handed guitar player like me, yeah, yeah. But, so that's one advantage, is that they're, like, look at this, they're pretty cool looking. Like, you know, that's going to stand out. They're cool looking, or you might say they're weird looking, but whatever you think, it's gonna stand out, you're gonna be noticed. But that's just, you know, that might not matter to you. But another advantage is that it's lightweight, because there's not a lot of weight to it, because it doesn't have a headstock. All the weight is in the body, and that's kind of something that takes a little bit of getting used to, because most guitars are kind of evenly distributed with the headstock and the body, but since it doesn't have a headstock, all the weight is down here. But because of this other advantage, it being small, it's pretty light. So yeah, that's another advantage. It's pretty small. Like, look at this. Doesn't take up a lot of space. I do have a case for it, but I usually take it to the bar. I just carry it in. And also, if you accidentally walk into a wall, which I do all the time, that's not even a joke, I actually do. If you walk into a wall, like, and accidentally hit your guitar on the wall, like, I do that, you know? It happens. You're not gonna worry about accidentally breaking your headstock off because you don't have one. Yeah. And, yes, you may have noticed that I put the tuner on the headless head, because you can do that. When I first got this guitar, my dad said, "Oh, you know, where would you put a tuner on the body?" And it's like, well, I think what I used to do was I would just like hold the tuner, and the way that you tune it. Here, I'll do an example of me tuning it. You just pluck a string, and you just tune it down here. It's not that complicated, especially if you have a guitar like that, where the top unscrews, and you tune it up there before you screw it back on, and then you fine-tune down here with the Floyd Rose. You might be used to tuning with pegs down here. So, it's not that complicated, like I said. It's just got no head. It's just, come on now. But yeah, you know, it's lightweight, it's easy to travel with, it's easy to carry around. You'll definitely get noticed for it, but there are some disadvantages. One being that because they're not very common, they're kind of hard to find strings for. And if you're somebody who changes your strings a lot, that might be a problem. I hardly ever change my strings. I know, like, I've talked about this in, like, metal chat rooms, like, oh yeah, I haven't changed my strings in, like, a year and a half. People freaked out at me. It's like, what the fuck? It's like the ultimate sin or something. Listen, Eric Clapton hardly ever changes his strings. He changes the strings when one breaks, which is what I do. At least that's what I've heard. That's what my dad told me about Eric Clapton. And you know what? If I can do something Eric Clapton does, I'm going to. And it's like, you know, I don't have to change my strings very often. It's like, you change your strings, and then you have to stretch them out for a while, especially if you're a left-handed guitar player, because left-handed guitars never fucking stay in tune. You gotta stretch them out, keep them in tune, and then you change them after like a month. What the hell? So yeah, I hardly ever change my strings. So because there's no headstock, they require these special strings. So what these are, and I made a video on changing the strings on this guitar before. They're double ball end, because one ball end has to go up here in the headless head and down here. I made it's explained more in that video where I changed the strings on it if you would like to see that. But yeah, that could be a disadvantage if you change your strings a lot. You have to get these special strings, which, like I said, because the guitars aren't very common, the strings aren't very common. There's only one place I can find these. And another disadvantage may be, like what I said before, people might make fun of you in the bar a lot, but, you know, it doesn't really matter. Another thing is, you know, just the whole thing. You might not like that all the weight is in the body. Like I said, it takes some getting used to. And, you know, just the whole setup, you might not like that. And also, on the headless head, the way that this works, like I explained in the changing strings video, is that there's a band that goes across here, and that's what holds the strings in place. And I don't know when this guitar was made. My dad said maybe in the late 70s or early 80s. Like I said, these guitars were mostly seen in the 80s, mostly basses. Hey, Eddie Van Halen played a headless guitar once. I've seen it. And there's this band, and those are kind of hard to find. I did not even know what this was called. I don't even remember what it's called. It's called like Headstock Retainer Band, I think. And mine's starting to fray at the edges because, like I said, I think this guitar is older than I am. So if that snaps, you gotta like find one. And because mine's fraying, I might order that part soon and change it and show you how to change it. Because I don't think there's any tutorials. And that's why I don't actually know how to change it. I would just be kind of winging it. So yeah, you know, the advantages, like, oh, also it's got 25 frets. Like I said, I don't know that much about other people's headless guitars. I just know about mine, but mine has 25 frets. So, you know, if you want that, like, that's pretty cool. Like, you know. So, you know, do I recommend a headless guitar? I don't know. Like, I would say they're pretty good. Like I said, the advantages, you know, let's do a quick summary. Advantages, it's noticeable, you can make it your signature guitar. It is lightweight, and it's small, so it's easy to take around to places, take to gigs, take on trips or whatever. You won't, like, accidentally break your headstock off if you walk into a wall, or if some, like, drunk dude runs into you. Happened to one of my friends. But disadvantages are, you know, they're not very common, so they're hard to find strings for, and, you know, the parts, kind of difficult to find parts for, and, I don't know how many of these are made anymore, so, you know, it might be even more difficult to find parts if not as many are made anymore. But if you want to get a headless guitar, go ahead. They're pretty cool. Like I said, 25 frets. Yeah, I like to go up to the 24th fret and, like, come on now. But yeah, I like this guitar. It's got a great sound, as you heard. And yeah, like, that's pretty much it. That's my experience with the headless guitar. So, I hope you enjoyed whatever this was. Maybe you learned something, who knows. You know, new videos, new guitar covers. I'm planning to do a guitar cover very soon, actually. new skits. House of Metalheads will come out eventually. Episode 6, it's somewhere out there. New band covers, just new videos, man. I'm trying to get a consistent upload schedule. It's summer now. Maybe I can do that. But yeah, there you go. That's what I know about the headless guitar. And until next time, stay metal.